All right, this is the rest of Genesis 6 and 7. That first paragraph was sort of a bit of a side track, so I did that on its own. So if you get into verse 5, you start to see when the Lord saw that human wickedness was widespread, and every inclination of the human mind was nothing but evil all the time. That mind is actually heart. So the human mind was nothing but evil. The literal translation is heart. We translate it as mind in the Bible because this is back then they thought the heart was where you made your rational decisions. We now think of that as mind. So the literal translation would have been heart. The Lord regretted that he had made earth. So that's really that he's sorry that we made a mess of it, is really a better one. So he didn't regret his own action. He regretted that we have made a hash of it, and he was deeply grieved. And he says he's going to wipe mankind off the favor of the earth, for I regret that I made them. Um, but verse 8, however, Noah, however, found favor with the Lord, right? So that's basically an undeserved blessing, an undeserved favor. Generally, we'd sort of think of that as grace, right? That's your typical definition of grace in the New Testament is undeserved favor. God has given us his grace, undeserved favor. So Noah found grace with the Lord, favor by God. So then it goes into his records. Yeah, he had three sons. We will come back to that. Fairly important in the genealogies later, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Uh, and the earth was corrupt in his sight, right? It was filled with wickedness, which is sort of a like violence, basically, right? And he saw how it was corrupt. Every creature had corrupted it. And he said to Noah, I'm going to put an end to this, for the earth is filled with wickedness. You remember back in Genesis 2, I had said, hey, by the way, you're going to see this word again. He tells us to go off and fill the earth. This is the next use of that word. We have filled it with wickedness. And God is unhappy about that. So because of that, I am going to destroy them along with the earth. So make yourself an ark, a box, a tibah, a some sort of box that is going to float, right? Of gopher wood. And he gives you some specific directions on how Noah is to go about and make this. And then it says, understand, I'm going to destroy every creature with the breath of life in it. So that is basically the one sentence that has the ruach and the haya, the breath of life in it, is all going to perish. But I will establish a covenant with you. So that's the first use up here of the word covenant in the Bible. So most people would consider there to be all the grounds and things necessary for a covenant with Adam, and that is the first covenant. But this is the first explicit wording of a covenant with Noah. And then you have the more sort of explicit making of a covenant with Abraham very shortly as you go through this. So all of the birds and all of the different pieces that are coming, right, are going to be on the ark to sort of survive this flood from each kind. So then it comes into chapter 7 and it says, the Lord tells you to go into that ark, right? Take 7 pairs of all the clean animals and 2 of the unclean. So the explicit directions of what is clean and unclean are only given later in Leviticus, but clearly God had expressed some of this law to them before Leviticus, because you have these clean and unclean animals coming on, right? So in general, it was 2 pairs of. Some people get confused, like why is it 7 pairs? In general, it was a pair of each of the animals, but the clean ones, so that you have animals for sacrifice and or eating, there was more of those brought onto the boat, right? And then 7 days from now, I will make it rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe everything off the face of the earth. Right? So Noah was 600 when the flood came. His sons, his wife's sons, everybody got on the ark, um, just as God commanded, and just as God said. 7 days later, the rain starts. Hello? There you go. Sorry. Rehearse this a little bit, right? So they all go on to of every creature that has a breath of life, shut and entered, and just as God commanded, then the Lord shut him in the box. And the flood continued for 40 days and 40 nights. And it lifted up the ark. So a neat one. The ark floated on the surface of the water, right? So he's in the chaos waters, and the ark is fluttering above the surface of the chaos waters, which is very similar to the wording in Genesis 1. The Spirit, the Ruach of God, fluttered over the chaos waters before creation, right? And then all of these creatures were on the boat. And where am I? Did I miss this? The floodgates in verse 11. Oh, yeah, there it is. Sorry. I get a little confused with where I had the scriptures in my Bible versus on the screen. So on the 17th day of the month, the vast watery depths burst open. So this goes back to their understanding of how creation worked, right? The water didn't bust up. The floodgates of the sky were opened, and the vast watery depths came down because the waters that are beneath and above were separated by the rakia, that shield. The floodgates, basically, roughly, it's a window, right? So you had this rakia that kept the waters above from the waters below, and those windows were opened, and the rain fell for 40 days and 40 nights. And you'll see that this is basically undoing the creation. And that's why it says, it goes on, everyone was on the boat, right? But all of the every creature perished, those that crawl on the earth, the birds, the livestock, the wildlife, all that swarm, as well as all mankind, right? So all of the things that God created when he populated the earth, right? The first 3 days he gave structure, and the second 3 days he actually populated and put things, right? So all the things on days 5 and 6 that were populated and put in the earth, not in the skies, and not in the heavens, but on earth, were taken basically back out, were uncreated. And you'll see as he goes through in the next chapter, chapter 8, basically it sort of almost repeats the days of creation. And a lot of the wording repeats the days of creation to sort of say, hey, now I'm making things new again and doing it and fixing up all that was corrupted in the first try. So that is it for Genesis. I hope you were blessed by your readings.